All right, so that's our warm up. So the workout we're doing today, we're going to do supersets. So what that means is we do exercises back to back without a rest. So we've got 3 lots of 3 supersets. There's going to be a cardio exercise to begin with, and then 2 core. So it'll be 45 seconds of the cardio, and then 30 seconds of the first core, and then 30 seconds of the second core. So with the first lot, we've got skaters, which is just opposite hand touching opposite foot. Right? We can make it easier by having a smaller step. Or for yourself by jumping foot off the ground. Right? So that's the first exercise. Your second exercise, which is a core exercise, we've got pointing dog. So with this one, you're on your hands and knees. It's going to be opposite arm, opposite leg coming out. Alright? Want to try and keep everything as straight and square as possible. We want to avoid rotating too much through your torso when you extend. The idea is just the limbs come out. So there's no movement through your hip or through your back. So that's the second exercise. The third exercise, we've got like a yoga position. Hoping that looks right. We've got a downward dog. So the idea with this one is you want your bum up in the air. You want more like a triangle. And then we're going to rock into a high plank. So down into the downward dog, and then into a high plank. With your high plank, we'll make sure you have a straight line between your shoulder and your heel, and you want your hand and shoulder in line as much as possible. So we want to try to avoid this sort of thing or this sort of thing happening. All right. So it's going to be 45 seconds of skaters, 30 seconds of your pointing dog, 30 seconds of your downward dog with high plank. We're going to do it 4 times through, and then we'll have a rest. Cool? Just give me a couple of seconds. Where's my towel? All right. So everyone get ready. So we'll start in about 10 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go for it. So we've got 45 seconds of skaters. So just keep it nice and consistent. Whatever you do on your left, try and keep it the same on your right. So don't overstretch one side just because you can. Halfway. So 10 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, and change. So straight down up your hands and knees. We got the pointing dog. So opposite arm, opposite leg. Try and keep everything else nice and stable. Minimal movement through your hips. About 10 seconds to go. And change. So you got your downward dog into your high plank. Just rocking from one to the other. Should feel a bit of a stretch through your calves when you're doing your downward dog. I'm not sure exactly if mine looks right, but the idea is you want to be as much of a triangle as possible. All right, and back up into your skaters. So straight into them, round 2. Halfway. About 10 seconds to go. And change. So back down, hands and knees, go to pointing dogs. Halfway. All right, and change. So downward dog, rocking into your high plank. And change. So back into your skaters. We've got 2 rounds to go. About 20 seconds. I think. No, 15. Three, 2, 1, and change. Down here, pointing dogs again. And change. Downward dog to your high plank. Ten seconds. And change. So we've got 1 more round. Last one, skaters. We'll have a couple of minutes rest once we finish our downward dogs with this one. About 15 seconds. And change. Last lot of pointing dogs. Try and keep that torso nice and straight. And change. Last exercise. $15 seconds. Almost there. And rest. All right, grab a drink. So I'll rest about a minute or 2. I'll get my breath back and I'll explain the next lot of exercises. So grab a drink. If you need to stretch, stretch. I'll explain what we're doing next. The The same setup, so 45 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 4 rounds. First exercise we've got is squats. So same as our warm-ups. I'll just run through the technique a little bit more this time. So when you're doing your squats, well, make sure your heels are on the ground at all times, so you're not squatting on your toes. You want to make sure those knees are in line with the middle of your foot, your middle toe. We don't want to see this sort of thing happening as you squat. All right, so you want to really force out those knees. And then I'll show you slide on. You want to try and keep your upper back and chest nice and tall, so we don't want to be rounding over as we squat. A lot of people you find will sort of hinge at the hips in that sort of way as opposed to this. So that's your squats. Second exercise we've got, call them Superman rows. So with these ones, you're lying down on your stomach, coming up off the ground, and then you're extending your arms. Alright. You want to try and have your head and feet off the ground at all times. I'll shuffle back a little bit so you can see it from the front on view. So you have your head and feet off the ground, and the idea is you're rowing up and down. It's kind of like if you're doing a lat pull down, if you go to the gym and use that machine. Same sort of movement. If you need to rest your head on the ground, it'll make it a lot easier. The last exercise we got, called leg raises. I like to have my hands under my bum, just changes the angle of your hips, takes the pressure off your lower back, and we're just going up and down with your base. Try and keep them as straight as you can. The easier alternative to this, we can either go single leg, or we can just bring your legs towards your chest with your knees bent. So they're the alternatives. I think they're pretty straightforward. We'll start again in about 20-30 seconds. So another drink if you need a drink, and then get set up. All right. We'll start in 10 seconds, so I can stay on in time of the timer. So 3, 2, 1, and go. So first exercise is your squats. Just want to keep a nice, consistent pace. If you want something harder, you can always add a weight. For this exercise, probably wouldn't do it for the first 2 rounds though. Save it for the last couple. Got about 20 seconds. And change. So down into your Superman rows. You want to try and keep these ones nice and controlled. Don't race through them. Obviously, the slower you go, the harder it's going to be to try and find a balance for yourself. Got about 10 seconds left. And rolling over onto your back. All right, leg raises. Can make this one a little bit harder by having your head and shoulders off the ground if you want. All right, and back up. Round 2. So straight into your squats. Just try and keep those heels on the ground. Keep that chest up. Almost there, about 7 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and down. Straight into those Superman rows. Halfway. Right, rolling over, straight into your leg raises. About 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and back up. Got 2 rounds to go. Straight into your squats. Just make sure those knees are in line with the middle of your feet. Don't want them caving in. About halfway. Ten seconds. Almost there. 3, 2, 1, and change. So dropping down into your rows. About halfway. Five seconds. All right, rolling over. Halfway. All right, and back up. We've got one more round. So last lot of squats, straight into them. We'll get a couple minutes rest again after these leg raises. About halfway. And change. Just dropping down. Last lot of rows. About 10 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, and change. Last 30 seconds. About 15 seconds. Three, 2, 1, and rest. All right, grab a drink, need a drink. We'll rest for a couple of minutes again while I explain the next lot of exercises. Same setup, so 45 seconds, 30 seconds, and 30 seconds. 4 rounds. I think we've got enough time. Looks like it. First exercise is star jumps. We all know how to do star jumps, I think, or we should. Just out and in. If you've got a weak pelvic floor, just step it out. All right. You don't want to put that extra pressure from the jump. So star jumps is your first exercise. Second exercise, we've got walkout bridges. So with these ones, I want you to rotate through your hips. So you're pushing your lower back into the ground, bridging up, and then we're going to walk your feet out as far as you can, walking back in again. Try and keep your hips as high as possible throughout the movement. All right, so it's non-stop. And then the third exercise, called dead bugs. Same movement pattern as a pointing dog, but you're lying on your back this time instead of on your hands and knees. So you got arms and legs up in the air, opposite arm, opposite leg, go out, come back in again. They go out, back in again. Ideally, you want to try and keep the other arm and the other leg completely motionless. All right, so we don't want to see this sort of thing happening or coming out. We want to try and keep the other two limbs completely still. Can make that one harder by having your head and shoulders off the ground, pushing your lower back into the ground. That will engage your core the entire time. If you haven't done it before, I wouldn't do that harder variation until the last couple of rounds. Get a feel for the movement first. So we'll rest another 30 seconds, just so I can get my breath back, and then we'll get into it. This is the last lot of exercises we're doing. So we'll start in about 15 seconds. All right, let's get ready. 3, 2, 1, and go. So star jumps first. Like I said, if you've got issues with your pelvic floor, just step them out. About 15 seconds. Three, 2, 1, and change. So down off the ground, bridging up with your hips, walking your feet out as far as you can, and walking back in. Try and keep those hips as high as you can the whole time. You really want to try and focus on squeezing through your glutes. Get your glutes to do all the work as opposed to your hamstrings. And change. Arms and legs in the air. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Your dead bugs. Halfway. All right, back up. Back to your star jumps. Round 2. 3 rounds to go. Halfway. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and change. Dropping down, back into your walkout bridges. If you find these ones are too difficult, just try and hold that bridge position. Don't worry about stepping out with your feet. Got about 10 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, and change. Straight into your dead bugs. Opposite arm, opposite leg. About 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and change. Back up. Got 2 rounds to go. Halfway. About 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and change. So down onto your back again. Reaching up, walking out. Halfway. And change. Straight into your dead bugs. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Want that extra challenge? Try and have your head and shoulders off the ground. Push your lower back into the ground. And just go a little bit slower with your tempo. Go about 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, back up. We've got 1 more round. Last lot of starches. Halfway. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1, and change. Last lot of bridges. Just try and step out as far as you can. Ten seconds to go. Almost there. 3, 2, 1, and change. Last 30 seconds, and then we're done. Halfway. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest.